Hey everyone, welcome back to the Heaps Creative Podcast, the show where we uncover creative archetypes. I'm your host, Tyler Jackson Chappell. In this episode, I sat down with Amanda Westley. Amanda is a Ngarrindjeri artist who's really well known for her use of pinks, yellows, blues, greens and oranges, and the way she represents her view of Ngarrindjeri country. This was a super interesting, really insightful conversation, and I just want to say how grateful I am for how vulnerable Amanda was and how honest. There's a lot of talk in this conversation about how Amanda came back to her culture after a pretty traumatic experience for her family, and it's really incredible to hear how art has played a role in that. Some of you may know Amanda's name from her experience of having the Prime Minister gift the Pope one of her paintings, and we do speak about that in that conversation and kind of the layered, complex kind of aftermath of that situation. And I just want to thank Amanda for her honesty in this chat, and it's a really beautiful conversation. I hope you enjoy. Amanda, thank you for joining the Heaps Creative Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
How did you get into art? Where did it start?
I don't think there was a specific moment where I started. I think it feels like it's something I've literally always done. All through school. I remember being, super young and painting at home on cork tiles that I would take from my dad's shed, or even on my furniture. I painted my wardrobe. It's kind of been a forever thing.
What kind of things were you painting?
I was painting, my style. Oh, actually, no, I wasn't. I think I was learning then my style. But yeah, just lots of. I've never been a drawer. I can't draw to save my life. But yeah, I think it was just experimenting with colours. That's all I can really remember from all that time ago.
And your dad was a boat builder, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. How did that influence your, obviously, did he view that as creative, or did you kind of just see the act of making stuff? And did that impact your creative practice?
I think he just was really good at everything. His hands just could pick up things and be great at it. I don't even think he ever learnt from someone to build boats. I'm pretty sure he watched something and was like, I can do that and I can do it better. And that was the type of person he was. And I think I'm probably a little bit similar with my brain, as in I can visually see things and just, put it onto a canvas, I guess. Yeah.
So were you painting the sort of things you're painting now when you first started, or was it kind of, just what you were seeing, or kind of what they told you to paint at school?
I pulled out of art in school because I couldn't cope with being told what to paint. I really, really struggled with that, with the no freedom, which I'm a co-educator at the moment. So I work in education in visual arts, and I also see young people struggle with freedom because they're so used to being told in school what to paint, and then all of a sudden when you're use your imagination or find out what it is that you want to paint, they struggle. And I think I was someone that needed the freedom but was never given it at school, so I pulled out of art altogether. I forgot, what was the question?
Were you painting similar things to what you're painting now?
No, I think it was Aboriginal art, But I think the more I went down that self-identity journey and I learnt more about that and got more connected to family and country and culture, that my art developed into what it is now. But, you know, I can't speak for everyone, but working with young people, First Nations artists, they all start with the universal symbols. And I think I was in that boat too until, you know, I learnt more. Yeah.
So was art a big spark for you to connect with culture? Or the other way around?
Oh, I think I just constantly did art my whole life, privately at home, and never thought much else of it, I think. But the older I got, the more, and I just wanted more than just painting. So I wanted more connection. I wanted to be able to put language into my art, I guess. So that inspired me more, I think, to learn more about me or my family, where I'm from. Yeah.
But you mentioned you do have quite a complicated connection with your family and reconnecting with culture. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so my grandmother was the youngest of 14 children, and the youngest 4 was stolen. So she is part of the stolen generation. So a lot was taken from us, taken from her. And then, so we already had that traumatic part to our story. And then my grandfather went to prison for abuse, and that was just another, you know, family trauma on top of that. And I think Mum kept us away from family, just, you know, to keep us safe, to keep her safe. She didn't know I really who to trust, I guess, anymore in the family. So, you know, my connections to my Ngarrindjeri family were kind of cut off to a certain extent. So it wasn't until I was an adult myself with children that I built the connection, that bridge to the rest of my family, and got those opportunities to learn language, and now super close with that family, which is awesome. Yeah.
But prior to that, art was always the thing that kept you connected?
Yeah, I think that was probably, looking back at it, it was probably the only connection I really had without actually knowing that that was what it was, I think. And now it's not just art that has the connection. There's so much more that I do that keeps me connected. And what's even way more awesome than that is that my kids just are so connected and they're so part of it. It's like they're every day. I don't think they know just how lucky they are, actually. But yeah.
No, it's very cool. You've been able to. It's hard, I guess, to think about the idea of ending any kind of generational trauma, because that's kind of the nature of it, is it's always there, but taking a big step to closing the gap for your kids.
Yeah, so they have access to culture, and that self-identity journey is hard enough as it is for everybody, and then just adding other things on top of it, like, you know, not being connected to your culture. If I could make that journey any easier for my kids, that would just be amazing. Yeah, awesome. So rewarding. Yeah,
so great.
Yeah.
And I read that you have or at least in the beginning, had a bit of an interesting relationship with selling your art. Were these some of the things that played into that?
Oh, what did you read? I'm interested.
This is just in my research, and look, it might be a quote from a while ago.
Okay.
But yeah, just that you maybe felt a bit uneasy actually selling your art in the beginning?
Yeah, because it's so, I don't know about every artist, but self-doubt is huge. And starting off, it's just so personal, I think, because you spend so much time doing it and you invest so much into it. And then the idea of having it hanging on someone else's wall for them to look at, it kind of made me quite nervous and a bit like super insecure about it, I guess. It's like it felt like a photo of my face almost, like hanging on someone's wall, but it's not, it's artwork. But yeah, it took a little while to get used to that. And also because I am a white passing First Nations person. And so that comes with a lot of conversation as well. And I don't know if I was ready for those sort of conversations. So if people saw the face connected to the art, I was nervous. Yeah. But I'm all good now.
I was going to say, how did you kind of get over that? Was it just the act of doing it again and again and feeling more confident in yourself and your practice? And
yeah, I think finding spaces that gave me that safe place and that support. So galleries that were so willing to back me, and listening to also my mob, like them supporting me, is huge, because it's not also, non-Indigenous Australia that have, some not nice things to say, but it's also surprisingly it's your own mob, which was a huge shock for me going into this industry, I guess, that you don't always have the support from First Nations Australia. Yeah.
It's an interesting, and it's just, when you think about it from a bit of a zoomed out lens, is if there's any group of people, there's going to be disagreements and there's going to be, complications, and it's not as straightforward as, like you said.
No, there's politics and everything.
Non-Indigenous Australia might think.
Yeah, that was a huge, huge shock. But having their support from the people that mattered to me, that I think that has given me the confidence to put my stuff out in the world and have it on people's walls. Yeah.
I think that's the thing, is like, because I don't know, you can actually give me an answer to this. Your work would take so long to complete a piece, and for so many reasons, like, it's so understandable why it would be so hard to see it out in the world, because it is just such a time commitment and such a chunk of your life. But that's also like the commitment to sit in what is a cultural practice and do that, and that commitment is such like a huge thing as well.
Yeah, it does. Mine, it does take a very long time. But I feel like it's like a map almost. And once you can read the map, you know it so well. So I can work a lot faster than from like starting a piece from scratch that I haven't necessarily done before. So I'm creating something new. That is a long process, but I think I'm kind of known for a certain style. I think you can look at an art piece and say, I think Amanda did that one, and those ones I can get through pretty quickly. Still a couple of days, but quickly. Yeah. And
it's not an easy process, like physically either. Like, it's very repetitive movements, and I see a lot of the time, like, and you've mentioned that you'll sit outside and paint, so it's a lot of the time it's like hunched over this giant canvas. Like, it's not an easy physical practice either.
Yeah, I don't use easels at all. Everything's flat or on the ground if it's too big, and I'm sitting on it and working around it, I guess. So yeah, my back does hurt. But long painting hours. Yeah.
And that's how it was done traditionally?
Yeah, look, I remember seeing aunties painting on canvas, not framed, just sitting on it as well. And I think that's part of the character of the piece as well. I love, especially going out into community and watching people paint, and they have like camp dogs sitting on their artwork. They have, bits of the ochre in sections that it shouldn't be because that's where it's brushed onto, but they don't change anything about the painting. I like that. Yeah.
Do you think that plays into why it's so hard to see it move on? Because I've spoken to other artists whose work takes a long time, and by the time it's done, they're ready to never look at it again. But do you think that's part of the reason, like it's so hard to part ways with, is the actual process?
Yeah, sometimes I'll paint a piece that I've been thinking about for ages, and I'm really excited to paint, and I paint it and I love the way it turns out, and it took so much time. And then galleries are like, can you send us the painting? And I've only got that one, and I'm like, oh no, I have to part with it. But yeah, again, I think I paint quietly. I'm a very, quiet sort of worker. So an introvert, I would say, a huge introvert probably. So I'm thinking a lot while I'm painting, whether I realize that or not. I think my brain is just constantly thinking in quiet, and so it feels so personal when I finish the piece, and then I have to sell it, and then that goes in someone's house, and it's just a weird feeling, a weird sensation of something so personal in someone else's space.
What are you thinking about? Is it active thoughts, or is it more of like a kind of moving meditation?
No, I don't even realize how busy my brain is, but it is. It's thinking of everything I'm doing, the painting, the next painting, what I have on that week, emails. Just, I'm constantly thinking about things, and my plans. I always have plans. Yeah.
Well, I was actually curious, do you plan out each piece? Like, you said you're not a big drawer, but do you like sketch it out, or is it more like an intuitive as you go kind of process?
Yeah, no sketching. No. Every now and then I might use a pencil to, help with a section. But basically, no, it's all just free-flowing, freehand, just like that. My theory is it's okay if you mess it up because you can just paint over it. So, yeah, I think that's kind of like my life as well. It's like a chaotic mess, but also an organised mess. Yeah.
But your work does have that really beautiful mix of like geometric and organic kind of forms.
Yeah, organic shapes. And it's like I have a system of how I paint a painting, so that never changes. That's always the same. The way that I start the painting to the order of the painting and the way I finish it. But at the same time, it's very, free. Like I just put it anywhere, the lines anywhere, and nothing's perfect. That's the cat.
This is not the first chat where there's been animals in the background.
She's in this room. I feel like I should let her out. She keep me going.
Look, you don't need to give away your secrets, but could you maybe share some of that system of how a piece comes together?
Yeah, it's like weeks in advance that I'm thinking about something. It's mostly colours. I think I see by colours. So when I go to a place, it's the colour that I take away from it, and it's the colour that represents the place in the painting. So it'll be weeks of thinking about colours. And then I will, once I have the canvas, I will, start from one side and then I work to the next, but only the top half. And then that round shape that has on most of my pieces, that's like the hardest part because they're teeny tiny little dots. That one I'll do next, and then I'll work the second half of the painting. Same system every single time. I can't do it any other way.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think I'm undiagnosed autism. And I say that because my daughter has just been diagnosed with autism, and I think our brains are very much alike. Yeah.
That collection of colour, is that something you're always open to, or is it like if you're going to a specific place on country to kind of capture that, is that when you're like, okay, I'm now opening the aperture and I'm picking up everything? Or could you just be like walking down the street or in Coles or something and be like, oh, that's a really interesting colour?
Yeah, I think I want the colour most of the colour to be specific to that place. What I like about First Nations art is, there's a specific colours for Central Australia compared to down here in the coastal parts of Australia. We have different colours. Our country looks different down here, and I want people to look at my art and say, that looks very coastal, I guess, and not, your red centre. That's what I'm trying to pick up when I look at parts of country that I'm going to paint.
And you mentioned like you do have, like you feel like people could look at a work and be like, oh, that's Amanda's. How long did it take to develop that style?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. I think, how old are my kids? I think I started painting like that when I think my eldest was about 3, and how old is she now? 14. So
Was that a conscious decision?
no, I think, I don't know. I think I just started working slowly that way, and then produced one really good one that sold, and I enjoyed it. So I thought, let's give it a go in different colours, and I think it grew from there. But then there is a downside to that as well. I think I get so frustrated sometimes that people struggle to accept my new work. They're not as interested. So that also stays with me when I think about solo exhibitions that I do. I'm like, are people going to get sick of this? Because I get sick of this. So is there going to be a point where people are like, no, I'm not going to go to her exhibition because they're the same every year. But yeah, some places don't actually want to see anything new from me. They just want what I'm known for. Yeah.
And how have you balanced that? Because that's I think a challenging thing. You're kind of a bit of a prisoner of your own success.
Yeah.
How have you, worked through that?
I think you find places that kind of align with you. I think that's important. I think I'm very blessed that I've got to a place now that I don't have to say yes to galleries. I'm quite confident to say, no, that doesn't work for me. And the galleries that I am aligned with at the moment are very supportive, I think. But the Pope thing didn't help because now everybody has just reinforced that that's all they want from me.
Do you want to talk about that? So for those who don't know,
the Pope.
Anthony Albanese gifted the Pope one of your paintings.
Yeah, that was a wild ride. That still is a wild ride, actually. And
you didn't know about it until...
Didn't know about it at all. I got a Instagram message early, like before the sun came up morning, as I was getting ready for work, someone asking if it was my painting, which I originally said, no, I don't think it is, because I didn't know anything about it. And I just assumed someone like AI generated my art onto it. And then, yeah, I started driving to work and my phone was blowing up with, interview requests from like SBS, 7 News, NITV. Like it was crazy. Channel 7 came to work. And then I had to leave work and go to ABC. And then, yeah, it was nuts. Yeah, sold out everywhere. Super blessed, super grateful for that. But it was also not knowing has been also a huge impact on my life and my family's life, I guess. But yeah.
Can you talk about that part of it? Because I think most people, when they think about like exposure like that, it's nothing but positive, but not necessarily always the case.
Yeah. So like I struggled with feeling like I should be grateful and only grateful. But I've, only recently come to terms that, I can be grateful and still be, I guess, upset. They can coexist together. Not knowing was just, being thrown into a spotlight, and it was I didn't think anything of it to start off with because, it's the Pope. It's not someone that I'm hugely aligned with naturally. So I thought, oh yeah, this might get a few likes on Instagram. But yeah, then all my art sold out. There was pressure from galleries after that. Literally, we've sold out, we need more artwork. But I also had a job, and it was my daughter's 13th birthday, and 13 is hard. So she was going through a lot in her life. So I struggled to juggle that. And also, being thrown into that public eye, so many people had so many opinions, and they're not always nice ones. So I'm quite intentional with the stuff that I put on my platforms, because I'm ready for those conversations. I've thought about them and I stand by them. I'm ready to, but I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't given a heads up. And then, you've got, the Prime Minister giving a piece of cultural art to probably the most religious icon in the world, without speaking to the artist first. I don't know. It doesn't sit right. It's kind of, almost the privilege that he does not have to think about how this would affect a First Nations artist because of the privilege that he has, that white privilege that, I can do what I want sort of thing. So yeah, that's been hard, really hard as well. Yeah.
Do you have any idea how it got there?
Yeah, I later found out because the gallery didn't know either that it was being given as a gift. She knew that it was being sold to the government, but didn't know what was happening with once it was sold. They purchased 2 pieces of my artwork, but they purchased them like 2-3 years before they actually gifted it. So that was a gallery in Canberra who I've just had a solo with recently. But yeah, it was all very hush-hush. Yeah,
it's really interesting. In my last conversation with Farron Foster, we spoke about kind of what happens with your art when it's out in the world, and how that's a really interesting thing to grapple with as an artist. And like you mentioned, a massive thing is for you as a First Nations artist would have just been knowing, so you could prepare yourself and make that decision of whether you were ready to have those conversations. And good on you for getting to a place where you only kind of put enough of yourself out there in a capacity that you're able to have those really well thought out conversations. Like, I think that's a really important, massive thing.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's It's hard. I'm not someone, anyone that follows me, I'm not hugely visually present on my socials. I think to other, accounts that I follow, I notice they're on there daily visually. So then to be thrown out there and being like seeing my face on everything was really, I guess, confronting. But yeah.
I think, like you said, like those two things of acknowledging all of the like yuckiness, for lack of a better word of it, but still being grateful, those can both exist at the same time.
So grateful as well, yeah.
Through that and through your evolution as not just an Indigenous artist, but an artist as a whole, even though those two things are obviously completely intertwined, did you have any mentors or anyone help guide you through any of this? All of this?
What, the Pope stuff, or just as an artist, in my
general,
whole career?
Well, you mentioned earlier, like having that support from mob.
Yeah, and I think I discovered that the older I got, I think, and I started having conversations. But I don't think I really had a mentor. I think I just was super conscious of who I was surrounding myself with, and learning to... I think the best advice that I ever got was from a gallery owner. And they're like, once you go back, you can't go forward with your stuff. So don't, put your prices out there on your art and then sell it like that for, a period of time and then drop all your prices back because you don't think you're succeeding enough. So I kind of apply that to every single part of my, art career, that, have an image of myself and what I want to achieve and stick with it, and don't kind of, go back, because then I can't go forward the way that I want. So, I've had a lot of support from mob, like my own family, important voices in community as well, like they are. So for them to continually support me and stand by me with things, that means the world. But also galleries have been super, like some of them I would say are friends. I've just been painting with them for so long and they've just helped me with my career so much, not with just selling my art, but down to the thickness of the canvas that I should be using. They super supportive like that. They've helped heaps.
And that relationship with galleries, is that something you seeked out or just kind of organically grown over time?
Actually really interesting, because I was listening to your podcast and I heard that conversation about galleries, and I've never approached a gallery ever, which listening to your podcast and that conversation, I think it was with Chris, talking about people approaching galleries, it just made me think, oh, hang on, I've never approached a gallery, I think, which makes me extremely lucky. I didn't have to do that. But when I started out painting, I didn't have any intention of, being in galleries or anything like that. But I got approached. I've been approached every time on social media for galleries. I've kind of got a gallery that is been around for over 40 years, and they give me great advice, and they're like, don't have more than this many galleries, becomes too much work, and super helpful. So,
but again, that's one of those, like, that's amazing that galleries are approaching you, but there's also a bit of kind of inherent risk in that as well. If you're getting just blind approached by a bunch of galleries, you don't necessarily know who has your best interests.
Exactly. And it's easy to say, like, you know, make sure that you're doing your research. But when you're first starting out, you say yes to any opportunity, and you try your best to make sure it's, you know, the best choice for you. But sometimes, I guess this is how you learn. And I have made so many mistakes with galleries. Yeah, I've cut ties with them.
That's really important too, though. I don't mean to interrupt.
No,
I just really want to
it
bookmark that, is having that kind of confidence in your vision of your career and your future to feel comfortable enough saying, like, no, this isn't right for me, is a really important thing.
Yeah, but it's hard to get there too, when you're starting out, because you need an opportunity, because the art world is small, but it's hard. And to get to a place where you can say comfortably, no, that doesn't align with me anymore, is a journey. But yeah, I am very lucky that I am at that now, and I've had to do that, and pull my art from places a few times, but yeah.
But also, like, you're juggling that, like you mentioned, you're working in education as well, you do your painting and weaving workshops, kids, family, running around a sport. And how do you balance it all?
I don't. Actually, I'm not balancing anything at all very well. I'm terrible at emails and stuff like that. I think because I have such a creative brain that I need to paint every day, and I'm someone that like craves to be alone, so I really struggle with social media and replying to emails and stuff like that. I try my best, but I actually have to talk to myself to do that. Otherwise, I don't do it. Also, like, be social outside of the studio is actually a real hard thing for me, and it takes a lot of, self-talk. Like, you can do this. You need to do this. But yeah, juggling it, I don't know. I think I can't stop, and that's a good thing, but also a bit of probably not the best thing either, because now I'm juggling like 5 different things, and I feel like I get it done. But yeah, it's chaos constantly. I'm on the road like 30 hours a week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I drive so much. But I guess I'm never feeling fulfilled enough. Like, I've always got to find something else to do. And I'm super passionate about, paving an easier pathway for the next generation, because I think my journey was so tough. If I could make that any easier for anyone else, then, that would just be the icing on the cake. Yeah.
I think like what you're describing is probably a pretty common experience for creative people. And you said you have systems for putting your artwork together besides like the internal, like hyping yourself up. Do you have anything else, or is it that just driving force of, like you said, wanting to make it easier for kind of the next generation?
Probably a bit of both. I think I'm still trying to figure myself out, even as, a fully grown adult. I still don't have it all together. But yeah, I definitely am so passionate about making it easier. But I do have, a system as well at the same time. Probably a system that doesn't make sense to anyone else on the outside of the world.
Okay.
Yeah, but it works for me. I need to paint every day somehow, or weave something. Otherwise, I don't feel regulated at all. And yeah, which is also a good thing, because I think I'll be doing that forever. But sometimes it's hard to shift. That's the struggle, shifting from that to then having to, be a person outside of art, which is...
And you're running a small business, essentially.
Yeah, which I'm no good at either. I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, it seems to be working.
Great, that's amazing.
The chaos.
Yeah. You mentioned just before we started recording your digital platform that you're working on. Can you tell people a little bit about that?
Yes. So it's going to be called, it is called Creative Mob Project. And as someone that spends a lot of, obviously, time in the First Nations art world, I found that if I wanted to get to know artists, especially when I'm curating, I want to find new artists, and it's super hard to find when you don't know where to start. It's like a lot of people, we have our individual profiles on, I guess, Instagram, but you don't know about them unless you know about them to find them. So, I mean, you can go to gallery web pages or art centre pages, and you can read a little bit about the artists, but there's no space, I felt, where I could get to know all First Nations artists, not just visual, but to curate an exhibition, I want more things other than visual art. So I wanted to create a platform that I can go into these artists' space, and you can visually see what it is that they do, and if that aligns with what you're looking for, you can then spend the week getting to know that artist, and then you can follow them from there. So it's like a collective place for all these artists that you can then individually follow from there, if that makes sense.
So will it be on Instagram or a website or like a YouTube kind of video series?
We're going to start Instagram and TikTok, I think. Yeah, and it'll be, the first one would be going into the artist studio and getting to know them. Then the next post would be Q&A with artists, and then the next post after that would be a focus on one piece with them, and then what I take away from that artist as well. And it'll have all their details on there, so you can follow them from there and create a relationship with that artist.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. And I'm sure we'll add this incredible dynamic to your own work as well.
Yes. And it's nice to also step away from painting as well. As much as I love it and need to do it, it's nice to create other things, I guess, than paintings. Yeah.
And you mentioned curating, but you also run a lot of painting and weaving workshops. Are you looking to continue those workshops kind of how you've been doing them, or use this platform to kind of bring people together and give a really diverse view of these practices?
Yeah, I think the Creative Mob Project will be just another baby, I guess, and also selfishly a chance for me to travel around Australia and just come into other artists' spaces and build some really good connections that I hope will help with my curating journey, because I love curating, but I'm only just beginning that. And I think one of the most important things is relationships, and not just a once-off sort of relationship, like a continued relationship for years is super important. And I think this project, Creative Mob Project, will give me that back. But yeah, I will continue, I think, to do workshops, but smaller, really small, because I do a lot of workshops most weeks in schools. So it'd be nice to have a smaller group of people in the space that I'm building. So yeah.
Opening soon,
hopefully.
What sounds really amazing about the Creative Mob Project is you mentioned maybe you didn't necessarily have those mentors who'd walked the same path that you have, but this is going to put you in touch with so many people who you're probably going to be that person who they're seeing on their path just a bit further down the track.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I didn't have anything like this when I was coming into the art world. I think it was all very I had to explore it on my own and learn things on my own. So I'm hoping, Creative Mob will be a place that is not just used for people shopping for what they want for their house, but also an educational tool would be amazing. Other young artists wanting to, I guess, break out into that art world, that's super hard. A tool for them, I guess, would be another. So many great things could come out of it, I hope. And I think it'll also be a tool for me, which is great. Yeah.
It sounds amazing. Like I'm so... Because when hasn't launched yet?
No, I'm hoping next week.
Amazing.
Hoping next week. We'll see. But yeah.
Well, then this podcast should be out by then. So I'll make sure there's links to it so everyone can go and check it out.
Yeah, it's a learning curve for me as well because I'm not very good at this.
You're doing great.
I'm not very good at this sort of stuff as well. So to go into other people's spaces and be more of a visual presence, I think is a new thing for me as well, because I've noticed that's what people want, I guess. And part of being an artist these days is you have to be quite available, I think, online, which is another thing to get used to.
How have you dealt with that?
I struggled. I feel like I'm very lucky that I've managed to keep the followers that I have because they've followed me from the start to now, and they're there because they love the art and stuff. But to grow, you have to be part of social media a lot, and sometimes I really struggle with that because people message you all the time. There's no switch off sort of thing, and if you don't reply, they get so angry. It's very personal. It's like they see into your life because they want to, like you're a TV show, and they think that they're like best friends with you. So if you don't reply to them, they get quite offended.
Yeah, it's this very strange, parasocial relationship where their relationship with you is 100% of their experience, but they're not the only person messaging you that thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's a tough one.
And then you're like, well, where do I draw the line? Because you want them to see into your life so they know what you're doing, what you're creating, and how busy you are and stuff. But at the same time, you don't want everyone to see. But they, surprisingly, people follow you not because of your art, but because they want to see what you're doing in your life. It's crazy. But that's where we live now.
It's an interesting one. I see both sides, obviously. But like you mentioned, earlier on in this conversation, you spend so many hours with a painting, so many of your thoughts and energy go into it. I think that's maybe what people want a glimpse at, is because obviously they're not privy to what's going on in your head all the time, but they get to kind of maybe see it on a screen. That's which nice
I need to remind myself that when I'm painting, because it is the feedback that I get is we want to see the process. And I'm like, really? Really? And learning how to do that. So
well, maybe we can save you some posts now. You've got a solo coming up in September.
Yes.
What is the process of getting ready for a solo? How many pieces are you looking to put in it? What kind of back end work are you doing? You're trying to promote it, or is that kind of the gallery's responsibility? What does it look like coming together?
The gallery is the one that does, the hard work, I think, with the advertising. Galleries take a commission, and I think that's part of it. What I've learned over the years anyway, is that they have clients, especially if they're a well-established gallery, and so they email your upcoming solo, and that they're the ones that draw everybody in, and then I just share it, I guess. But they do all that sort of work. But it probably takes me about 6 months to prepare for a solo. This will be my second solo this year, and I'm hoping to put in about between 14 and 16 pieces, but they're quite large.
Are they all
large? Those two over there are about, I want to say they're 1.20 meters, 1.50. I don't know. They're quite big. But I think the smallest one that I'll have in there is about 76 centimeters. Yeah. The gallery, it's with Art Images in Norwood. They sell quite a lot of my large scale artwork. Yeah, that sells really well there. So yeah, different galleries prefer different sizes. Yeah.
If anyone hasn't been there, they have like the big rollout kind of shelves where they keep everything.
Yeah, it is. It's an awesome gallery. Yeah, super excited. I think this is my second solo with them, second or third. Yeah,
cool. Is there kind of, knowing they had a clientele and have collectors kind of that work through them, is that something you knew when you originally started creating that relationship with them?
No, I think I'm pretty lucky that the galleries that first reached out to me were really good galleries. Japinga in WA. I've been with them, I don't know, since I want to say like 2018-ish.
Wow.
Yeah, a long time. And Art Images as well, like massive galleries that have been there for so long and do so well. So I think I was very lucky with that to start off with. But, I've also said yes to galleries that, lose track of my artwork and sell stuff that they don't have. And then, it's been a horrible experience with some. But I think also that's a good thing, because I've realised how great these galleries are and what they do. So when galleries ask for commission, I've worked out what I should be getting out of that gallery. And hence why I've stayed with these galleries for so long. Yeah.
And like you said, from that to like all of your projects and a million like balls you're juggling, they do seem like they're all really relationship based.
Yeah, like more like friends. When the Pope thing happened, like they checked in with me, like they understood straight. I didn't have to say anything. They rang and they were like, "Are you okay? Is there anything we can help you with? Do you have someone helping you?" And like a place like Art Images, they bring those canvases, they stretched and they bring me those. Like it's that awesome relationship that I have with them now. But yeah, I think I am pretty lucky, because it's hard sometimes seeing your artwork sell for a price and knowing that you have to hand over like 40% of it, or sometimes 50%, depending on what gallery you're with. So to have a gallery become a little bit more like family, I'm so glad that I can create something that sells so well that they also benefit from.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have any advice for artists? Let's go like maybe artists in general, or maybe I was curious, do you have any advice for maybe younger First Nations people who are looking to connect to culture through art?
For artists in general, what would I say? Oh gosh, it's a hard one actually. I'd say literally continue, just keep going. It gets so hard, I think. And what I find having conversations with younger generations is they're so invested in their art, but then they get to, becoming public with that art and wanting to sell it and make it a bit of a future, and they get these hurdles. And art is not something that, you have one success and then you're good. In waves, like I've had this success from the Pope, but I'm not always doing well. There are some weeks that I'm like, should I go apply for a job at Woolworths? I don't know. Because no art is selling, because we're going through a financial crisis at the moment. So art is not an essential, but like push through, just live off 2-minute noodles, just do it, but don't stop, because that won't last. For First Nations artists, I'd probably say if you're wanting to, break out into the art world, surround yourself with the right sort of voices, the people that you look up to. Surround yourself with those, and use them to help you, navigate and get that confidence to sell your art. And because there is there's so much politics, there is, and if you just have that support, it's just a game changer. It really is, because then you realize that that it's all that's important is the people that I look up to, and if they're supporting me, then keep going.
Awesome. This question might kind of piggyback off that one, but it definitely doesn't have to. What is the biggest challenge you face as a career creative, and how do you kind of overcome it, or at least interact with it on a day-to-day basis?
I think, it's hard to narrow it down to one, and that sounds really bad, but it is awesome to be an artist and do what I love, but there are so many hurdles. And
this doesn't have to be kind of generally, this could be for you personally.
There would be definitely being, a white passing First Nations artist in, a black space is one hurdle that was probably the biggest one, I think, because I'm a people pleaser, and I was always worried about what everyone would think, and I never wanted to upset anyone. But I think to overcome that, it actually, I think, was a confidence thing. I had to unlearn, I had to relearn, and then, learning all that knowledge, kind of, more, you do better, that's confidence. It's like it's an armor almost. So I'm just really ready for those conversations when I post stuff on social media, because I've done so much work to make sure that I'm ready for those, big conversations, big hard conversations. So I think that's probably one of the biggest hurdles. And the other one is, probably the fluctuation of art in general, sales. I think I don't know if you ever just make it, do you? I don't know. I haven't met anyone that's been like, I've made it. I think if we continue to have struggles, because art, again, is not a necessity. It's, healthcare is, and fuel in your car is, and your rent, but not so much art. So working through that, and that's where workshops come in, and other things, like other opportunities. And it's not just painting on a canvas. You have to, if you want to make it, then you have to do other things as well, I guess. Yeah. For me anyway.
Yeah. And like you said, you're in a lot of educational spaces. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting, like a lot of people I've spoken to, there is kind of two schools of thought. As you have your working life surround your art practice, or you just do something totally separated and be completely disconnected. But it seems like you've really gone the route of like everything is in service of your art.
Yes. Like it's all connected somehow. And, you know, I wish I didn't have to do all these things. I wish in a perfect world for me would be to be in my studio painting and not worry about anything else, and don't have to sell my art if I don't want to, don't have to do workshops, don't have to go to my job if I don't want to. But I don't think that's possible. So doing these things, I make sure if I have to do them that they're connected to my practice somehow. So, you know, being a First Nations co-educator that specialises in, you know, First Nations art in a school, and working with Ngarrindjeri kids, you know, I get that's connected. And then the workshops as well, weaving. I get to weave all day, so that's great. Yeah.
Awesome. Something I always ask people is like, in a perfect world, what does your creative life look like in 5 years? Is that what it is? Is it painting when you want to paint? And
yeah, it would be on a deserted island with just paint and canvas and no one else. No. I'm building a small gallery space at the moment, and I'm hoping that would be something that I, in 5 years, could say that's all I'm doing, really, is opening that space up. But yeah, I also I want to go work in an art centre in Central Australia or somewhere as well. I'm hoping when my kids are grown up, I can go do that. You know, things like that, hopefully. Yeah, but we'll see.
Well, if that's looking forward, kind of looking back, is there any one project that you're most proud of?
I think people will be expecting me to say the Pope. But no, actually, it would be, I'm super, super, super proud of Water People. You went to that, didn't you? Yeah. That was my first curating, and I really, really loved that. I felt I took a different approach to it. I travel around Australia and have relationships with art centres all over the place. And I forget that not everyone gets to see that and experience that. And I was hoping that Water People could kind of bring that to our little coastal town, and people get to experience what I get to experience quite regularly.
Because you brought together artists from all over the place.
Yeah, from all over. And I travelled there too, and built some relationships. Like I went to the Tiwi Islands and stayed there for a little bit, and worked with the artists, and, you know, cried when I had to leave and come back. And and I still talk to them and today. So I wanted people to experience what it felt like for me traveling around Australia and having those relationships, and I hope that's what I achieved. I felt like I at least achieved a little bit of that.
It was a beautiful show.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so I'm super proud of that one. Yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to plug? Anything else you want to mention?
No, I think I think we've covered.
Awesome.
All
There'll
the
be links
I'm doing.
to everything.
Yeah, I think that's everything.
And hopefully Creative Mob Project will be up and running by the time this goes live. So we can put the links into that as well.
Fingers crossed. We have at least, you know, you can go follow it publicly anyway, hopefully next week.
Amazing. Yeah. Where can people find you? Is Instagram the best place?
Yeah, Instagram's probably the best place. yeah, I'm quite active on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And art images and...
Artworks in Galway locally, yeah, but there's also, Japinga in WA, and if you're listening overseas, I'm at Coo Gallery in the UK.
Amazing. Yeah. Amanda, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh, no, thanks. Thanks so much.
It's been awesome. It's been great. This conversation was recorded on Ngarrindjeri land. I just want to thank everyone again for tuning in to listen, and to thank you for all the support. And you can always follow along on socials and subscribe to the Substack, where each month I give a bit of a rundown and kind of some more in-depth thoughts on the guests from that month. Thanks so much, and I'll see you all next time. Cheers.